Good day, folks. Has anybody noted how bought out, I mean, if you didn't have a realization till now, how bought out this television media is? You just needed to flip the channels in the morning to realize what the topic was. Surprisingly, Times Now and the other culprit, I couldn't figure out how was this India Today group, right? What were they talking about? Mehul Choksi, was he be top Rahul Kanwal talking to his wife? Has he been kidnapped? And it's showing the silhouettes of this lady, just to suggesting that Mehul Choksi is having an affair. I mean, that's deprivation at its worst. That's kiss ass at its worst. The only channel at this point of time that I saw that was actually doing a rerun from yesterday was NDTV, which showed that at least they maintained a certain amount of decorum. Everybody else was just flashing this Mehul Choksi, who on the wheelchair was looking like abysmally lost. Right? Now, what is Mehul Choksi going to do for India or for this nationalistic government when we have an unfortunate situation with our COVID? Just because it's going down, the government, like I said, is coming back up again. Oh, the things are okay. RSS is out and Nadda is out, like I said yesterday. But Choksi, for God's sake, and give me a break, man. All you guys in your TV media, man, just give me a break, right? Choksi to face illegal entry charges, says court. Headline in Time is in Hindustan Times. That's funny, but this I found the most hilarious. Court allows banks to sell Malia assets worth 5.6 crores. PMLA court, banks can take over Malia properties worth 5,600 crores. Folks, this is 6 years later, right? He ran away, I think 6-7 years ago. He had already offered, if you remember, to settle for 6,000 crore. All he wanted, essentially, was writing down the interest. He was willing to pay the entire principal. And what did we do? No, we will fight. And we fought for 6 years, wasted time, precious time, when this was hardly a highway robbery, right? Let's give the guy his due. He used his chuputsa and created a business. But go after this guy who's messing the entire your entire fraternity of doctors, your vaccine strategy. And what do you have? You have everybody keep bumming, chumming, the PM bumming, chumming with him, Gadkari bumming, chumming with him, and who's the other person who Harshvardhan. Ramdev now attacks pharma, mafia and corrupt netas. Now, which corrupt netas? Well, it's going to be the 6 years, right? The corrupt neta, who are they? Not the Congress, right? I just wonder who he means, right? But the deaths continues. 5 senior AI pilots die of COVID in May. Vaccine drive hit by scarcity. Then somebody said, hey, we're going to having problems with, and Jay Shankar is out there wasting really crazy brownie points trying to defend the death rates that are being projected in the New York Times. But you're going to see this, right? Half-burnt body parts wash up at Uttarakhand Ghat. Video of dogs feeding on bodies emerges. And look at this. And this is what happened in Gujarat. Number of Delhi death certificates up 250% to 35,000 in April and May. Final count may go up as applications still pending. Now imagine if they're all 300% below. And this is exactly what has happened pan-India, folks. You can take, these are real death certificates. So I don't know what Jay Shankar is defending and VK Paul, and I mean, kind of stupidity, sheer stupidity. VK Paul, I don't know where he's coming from, right? And then you have this High Court. Look at, we're culling now, right? Save younger patients first, HC to center. Oh, and look at what they say. They say, old have lived their lives, says High Court, pushes for priority jabs, drugs to young. And this is happening in hospitals too, folks. I am told in well-known hospitals, when there was a requirement for an ICU bed, there were 10 patients, the doctors were begging and eventually ended up saying, I'll at least save the guy who's 35, 40. The older people were allowed to say what? Die. The other nonsense that came up, trying to divert attention from the real thing. Juhi Chawla moves High Court against 5G rollout, and apparently somebody came out and started singing a song. And this is the other thing, the media is just wasting so much. Chief Secretary slighted PM President, undermined federal structure. So there's a whole, this is a whole process going to, kind of creating this bad woman image of Mamta image and creating this whole drama to take away from the actual problems, which are drowning and deaths as per COVID, no control, lies in terms of vaccines. They're going to tell you why, and to top it all, a dumping economy. Okay, RSS to discuss COVID in Bengal. RSS did not come out and say a chew in any other place. No help. Now they're up for Seva, but they want to discuss West Bengal. Why don't you talk about this in Madhya Pradesh, which is where it's like a all bunch of lies, or Gujarat? I don't know. This is the other thing that one has to worry about. That all lies. This is, and then they go up there. Now they're going, new pension rules are a gag order, says rattled ex-security intel officers, but they're not allowed to speak. And this is how compliant, pliant judges, even Supreme Court judges, are paid back for not doing their duty or running with the government. 9 months after he retired from Supreme Court, Justice Arun Mishra is NHRC's chief, and he's the most despicable. People like him or like Ranjan Gogoi now don't really deserve the darja of ex-Supreme Court justice. Confusion about the vaccine. The Supreme Court, as you've seen, has driven a hole through the government's backside and lit a fire under their butt. But this is what I want you to hear. What Karan Thapar had to write: India's vaccine policy requires transparency. He writes, the Indian policy needs reconsidering. The protection conferred by a single dose is not going to be enough to stop the spread of B1617.2, Delta that is, particularly as the vaccines in use in India are not the strongest known. Hear this right. The PHE study shows that the case of B1617.2, whilst 2 doses of Pfizer vaccines are 88% effective, 2 doses of AstraZeneca, that's our Covishield, are only 60% effective. That's a huge difference of 28%. Does that suggest AstraZeneca Covishield is an inferior vaccine compared to Pfizer, at least in terms of battling the Delta variant? The question is Pfizer to India. Newspaper report suggests the sticking point is Pfizer's demand for immunity. Apparently, every country where Pfizer is available has granted this, and India still waits for 6 months, and now they're saying maybe, right? The other question is different, but no less important. We've given around 200 million first jabs, including close to 50 million repeat jabs, and 90% are Covishield. Now, will we need a booster immediately? Why then are we? See, most of our B1617.2 emerged in India, and undoubtedly we have more cases than any other country. Why then are we relying on data from Britain on efficacy of Covishield against? Surely, after having so many jabs of Covishield, we should have better data. In fact, shouldn't India be telling the world about the efficacy of AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine against B1617.2 rather than depending on Britain to find out? Question again, guys. When the COVID app was being designed, members of the COVID working group suggested it would track the relationship between vaccination and infection. If that had been done, we would have had the world's best data on the efficacy of AstraZeneca Covishield against this Delta variant. Unfortunately, the government did not heed the advice, as usual, not listening to specialists. Why? Worse, members of the group were required to guarantee they would not reveal their discussions for 10 years, given 10 years. Well, given the CDC does it regularly. And the point is that this is exactly what they've done to the intel community with their threat with the pensions, right? They are not discussing state secrets, but they are deliberating on matters of critical national concern, which have a right, which we have a right to know about. Why is it being kept from us? Point to note, folks, and look at what happened. Jabs for all by December, says government, as SC quizzes it on vax policy. Court asks for documents with file notings. SC tells government, wake up and smell the coffee. Let vaccine policy be flexible. Decks cleared for co-vaccine facility at Bulandshahr. Only now, I don't understand. Oh. Then what does Supreme Court say? Let rip again. Vaccine policy for 18 to 45 arbitrary, irrational, says Supreme Court. 10 key points raised by Apex Court. Vaccination of India's entire eligible population is the singular most important task. Paid system of inoculation for state UTs is prima facie arbitrary and irrational. Policy conflicts with the constitutional balance of responsibility between centre and states. Existing vaccination policy should be tested on angle of right to equality under Article 14. Why can't centre spend 35,000 crore from budget to vaccinate 18 to 45 age group? Important. Current policy benefits economically privileged sections of society, as you can see with RWAs all over the place, like mine, defense colony. Everybody who's paying for it is getting it. Marginalized sections will bear the brunt due to mandatory registration on CoWIN. Place all documents, file notings to show thinking behind the vaccination policy. Obviously, there's going to be none. Blank page. Undertake a fresh review of the vaccination policy.
Submit all data on inoculation done and plan to vaccinate rest of the population 2 weeks. I'm crazy. What is it? Vax policy for 1840. And finally, it asks for a show jabs roadmap till December Supreme Court to the government, and it has to match it with data, folks. Jab shortage, artificial says AAP oversupply is running low. A bullshit artist, Mr. Javadekar, will vaccinate all by end of year. Javadekar hits back at Congress. Will I vaccinate all by end of year, says government. Okay, what does poor Sambit Patra left to say? Private hospitals procured more vaccine than AAP, government says BJP. Obviously, because they're willing to pay for it, right? He's being stupid. India may consider indemnity request. Finally, why didn't they do it earlier? Close to committing 1 billion to Moderna for booster shots, says Cipla. Let me tell you folks, they got to do it. Seal the deal, as somebody says. In February, Pfizer withdrew its application for an emergency use authorization in India after refusing to accede to the drug regulator's demand for social safety and immunogenicity studies. Resolved bottlenecks, folks, not happening. Then you have India to get nearly 120 million doses by June, says government. I'll tell you, not possible. Biological Canadian firms to manufacture jabs. Pfizer, Cipla demand spending, DCGI relaxed norm for clearing vaccines. Not happening, folks, everywhere. Amid vaccine crunch, India Inc. steps into inoculate employees the only way possible. And look at what Covaxin says. Takes 4 months to get vaccine out for use, folks. That's the reality. Striking comments by the High Court. Delaying local vaccination production should draw manslaughter charge, High Court to center. And he's right. The same thing for oxygen. Then it says, why launch drive if no doses? Courts tell city government. Then it says, courts can't be silent if citizens' rights violated. Now, look at what we need. Now, this is the truth of vaccination, right? What India needs to do to give doses to all by year. It says, by end of 2021, the country needs to administer 1.88 billion doses in total, of which 1.6 billion or 89% are yet to be administered. This means that the country needs to deliver 238 million doses every month from June to, or risk falling behind. Target shows data analyst, right? And it basically is the, here's what I'm going to tell you, right? Look at it this way. We need 1.9 billion, right? Get the numbers in your head. 1.9 billion, and this is what you should be telling the Supreme Court. Till end of May, you've done 215 million. 215 million. So folks, what is the balance? 1.689 billion, right? Now, based on productions and availability that you can see, only 120 million of them are going to be available in June, and part of the same kind of quantity is going to be available in July. So you take out 120 million, right? What do you need? You need 1.69 billion as of end July, which means first, a production capacity of 294 million, folks. Out of this, I can guarantee you, Serum Institute, our largest manufacturer, is only going to be doing 100 million a month. Covax, if at that, 60 million. So then you have 133 million doses per month. First question, the government, the Supreme Court must ask, where is the balance 133.8 million? Who's going to produce that? Or else 133.8 million going to come from Sputnik? Is it going to come from imports? And this is per month, folks. And also remember, at this point of time, when I have done this, the numbers is for 70% herd immunity. If you want to vaccinate everybody, this goes into a further big loop and 6 months delay. So what do we have? 153 days left from 1st of August. Okay, which means you need 11 million doses a day, folks. And I have seen one individual can maximum do 60 jabs a day, right? So how many people do we need? We need 185,000 people, folks, nurses and ancillary staff, double and triple that. Do we have that in rural areas? My question to you folks, where are we living? Let's get up and smell the coffee. Let's nail this government. Let's tell the media. Let's tell the Supreme Court that the numbers make no sense at all. There is no urgency. This is a game of whitewash, headline grabbing stuff. They've suddenly moved to the elections in UP, folks. My word for it. Cheers and Jai Hind.